All right. Welcome, welcome. I am here a little early, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some music started. And we'll go ahead and get going, guys. And we'll let people know that we are live. And we'll go ahead and get started, guys. How's it going, guys? Good. We'll know that we are afternoon, where I'm at. Hope you guys are having a great day, guys. Hope you guys are having a great day. Haha. How's it going, guys? How's it going? Ooh. No, that's not there anymore. Good afternoon. We got some exciting things to do today. And one of them actually involves a very special tier list. And that is that I'm going to actually rate a bunch of different armaments and provide you kind of guide on how you can actually grow your vision on, what armaments are good, I was talking to some of the members of Kingdom 3950, and then it looks like a lot of them wanted that kind of dice. So, yep, we got some stuff to do. Got some people who are joining my rally last minute as well. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at this really quickly, and then we're gonna do some gambas, we're gonna do some tier lists. It's gonna be fun, guys. It's gonna be fun. Nice, nice. Decent amount of damage. Yo, Mao, how's it going, man? Welcome, welcome. I do wanna use up some of the action points before I kind of overflow. Let me just go ahead and send out another rally. And then we'll go ahead and check out other accounts. We'll come back to this one before we go over to the tier list. That's our plan today. Alright. Do we have another level 14 bar fort? There's one that's 13. Wait, do we not have a 14? There's no way. There you go. Yeah, let's use up some action points, and then we'll go ahead and check out my other accounts. Hey Llama, how's it going? Jason Simpson, welcome, welcome. Welcome, guys, welcome. You guys are here for the content today. So we're gonna do a tier list later. But first, let me just make sure that none of my accounts are like action point hungry. You know what? You know what I mean, guys? Yeah. I haven't logged into them for a bit, so I just came back from gym. So we need to kind of push this right now. It'll be hurtful to see all those action points go to waste, right? Oh, now we do have the KVK3 opponents revealed. I don't know too many kingdoms here. I know the 3867 used to be really, really strong. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this will play out. Hey, Senior L Pimpy. How's it going, man? Welcome, welcome. Oh, you know what? I didn't do any of these. I didn't do the quest today? What? What am I doing? What are you doing, Musa? What are you doing? Wait, did I even do the armaments? I did send them out, but I didn't claim them. Okay, good. I was like, did I miss the armament? That would have been a big issue. Yeah, if I didn't do the armaments. Doing great. Hope you are too. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, Mohammed, how's it going, man? Welcome, everyone. We got an exciting stream ahead of us, so buckle up, people. Ooh, wait, hold on. Time to do some gamba. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, brutal. 3.5% attack? Wait, is that usable? I feel like I have brutal on that slot, though. I have fit for that slot. Ooh. Yeah, I don't think I can use this. I'll keep it locked, but yeah, that's not that good. Yeah. Hey, Tom, how's it going, man? Welcome. Alright. Then we'll use some courier station for the quests. That should give me 100, yeah. Pretty decent, I'll say. I'm gonna go ahead and recall those guys back. Do I have any chests? No, I don't have any chests. Okay, cool. Let's just go ahead and check out my 3950 account. Doing my first level 6 pass in 3 hours. Hey, good luck, man. Good luck. Make sure your team is ready for that, man. Sometimes some of the young kingdoms have difficulty with the passes. Back when I was first starting the game, they had some kingdoms that were suffering from those. So hopefully your kingdom's not one of them. Okay, we got everything here, and we did use some action points on this account, so that's a big W. All right. Let's go back to my main account then. Me fighting against a 230 million whale in 3 weeks? Yo. And that sounds like a scary thing to do, man. That sounds like a very scary thing to do. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and start recording now. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Musa Game here, and today we are live here with the chat. And in today's stream, we're gonna do something very, very special, and that is a tier list that is designed to give you guidance on how armaments work and which armaments are valuable. Now, on the bottom here, on the bottom of the screen here, I have probably set myself a bunch of different screenshots of armaments that I found from my my main account. Some of those I don't have, so I actually got on some of the streams of Chasky to kind of grab those because I don't have the double inscription with special inscription, right? But in today's video, we're gonna go through this whole list of, I don't know, 30 something armaments, and then I'm gonna actually rank them, give them a tier based on how valuable it is for you as a player. Tom is like, hello YouTube viewers, eh? Yeah, how valuable those armaments are as a player. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is simple, is because I think by doing this tier list, I think it will kind of give you, and especially the new players who are entering KVK2 for the very first time, better idea of how you can actually grow your eyes on which armaments that you can actually keep and which armaments that you can dismantle. So that is the whole point of this video, guys. That is the whole point of this video. So stick around, as this will be the main meat, bread and butter of this stream, guys. But first, before we go into this, we're gonna go ahead and do some gamba. And I do not recommend people doing this. I do not recommend people doing this, but before we get onto this, we're gonna just go ahead and spend 1500 gems to push this to level 15. And then open up some armaments, guys. So open up some armaments. I know. Sounds like a whale move, but hey. Problem is, I listened to him. His guide helped me to improve my account. I have so far taken notes. Hey, thank you so much, man. Alright, let's see if we get something good. Nothing worth keeping. And you'll be able to kind of grow your eyes on which one is worth keeping throughout this video, right? So, hey. Hopefully this is it. Oh, wait, hold on. We got inscription on 2 of them. Let's see. Guarded. Not really something that I would use personally. But I'll just go ahead and keep it for now. And calm, again, not really something that I would use. I'll keep it for now. None of them are really worth keeping for me, personally. And then, last but not least, we'll do a daily reroll on my Leonine Crest to see if we can get something better here. If my GG is back. Wait, is my GG? Oh my god, someone sent it. Someone sent a... Okay, my GG is not back. Okay, we'll go ahead and skip the Armament reroll to the end of the video then. Alright. With that said, let's just get right to this, right? Okay. First, let's just go ahead and start off this stream by explaining how each tier kind of works, right? On the very, very top, we have triple S tier. And these are the armaments that you cannot buy with we cannot buy with money, right? Money can't buy you the triple S tier. You just have to be really, really lucky. And even if you say, let's say, the chances are you'll get it, but let's say even if you like pour $1 million into the armaments, there is still a chance. There is still a chance that you will not be able to get armaments in the triple S tier. That's what triple S tier means. Hey Zeb, how's it going, man? Hey, and double S. Double S is almost impossible. Those are the ones that you have to go through extreme odds. I mean, extremely low odds for you to actually get those. For example, things like 2% all damage, right? Things like 1.9% all damage. Things like double inscription that doesn't really have like combat help abilities, right? Combat contribution. Those are double S class tiers. So those are going to be really, really important. And if you have like even S+, it will be really, really valuable for your account just overall. Because all these armors here, I kept those armors for reasons, guys. I kept these armors for reasons. I didn't actually just dismantle those because I thought it was worth keeping at some point of my account's age, right? And I locked those, and that's why I still have those armors, guys. That's why I still have those armors. So none of these armors are trash. Literally trash, right? So that's why the tier list all the way goes all the way down to B tier, but nothing below, okay? Then S tier just means it's OP. It is easier for the S+ tier. S+ tier is basically humanly possible. If you try really, really hard, you'll be able to basically get this, right? Eventually, everyone in Rise of Kingdoms would eventually be able to get something like this, and that's what S+ tier means. The S tier means it is OP. A tier means it is great. And those are just in general very, very great armaments at the end of the day. Those are just really, really good, usable. You can slap it on any armaments, and you'll be able to basically go and, let's say, play in Season of Conquest without worrying about your armament being weaker than the enemy, right? And then B means that those are good, but those are probably worth more if you're in pre-Season of Conquest. So that's what those tiers kind of mean, okay? That's what these tiers kind of mean. Now, I'm going to start from the very upper left corner here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you guys can see these better. All right, so very first thing we have here. So this is an Arch Armament that has 3.1% attack, 3% defense, and 3.4% unit health, siege unit health, right? Now, this is currently sitting on what's this called? The scroll formation, a scroll slot of the Arch, and easily, I think this is pretty easy. I would say this is probably at the top of the B tier, right? Or actually, it will be probably the bottom of the A tier. So these are great armaments. The reason why this is really, really good is because it will cost you only 1 conversion stone for you to actually transfer this over to, let's say, V formation. And also, if you want to, you can actually put in some inscriptions and you can actually use it. If you want to use some special inscription for V formation, which is not the best special inscription for that slot, to be really, really fair, but it is still actually better. I did the math on it. It is still better than things like Destructive on Arch, right? So if you have Conversion Stone, yes, you can kind of use this. It has really high rolls of stats. It has 9.5% stats. I'll put this at an A tier, okay? Now, this next armament is also from Arch, but also at the same time, it has 2.5% attack, 3.3% defense, and 1.6% all damage. And the moment that you guys are seeing the all damage, you guys might be wondering, hey, isn't all damage really, really rare? And maybe we should actually put all damage armament to really, really high up in the tier list. So you might be thinking that, but no. Actually, that is not the case. Because here's why. This armament right here is actually an armament on the emblem slot, right? The emblem slot armament is actually something that you cannot really put in any rare or special inscription. Because let's say you win because the armaments that you can actually inscribe special inscription that is farmable is actually on those 2 slots only, which are the scroll slot and the flag spot, right? So the other 2 slots that you actually have for armaments, you have to get the armaments that has, let's say, the special or rare inscriptions when you pull those armaments. Because there's no known way that I personally know at this moment that can actually inscribe rare or special inscription to those armor slots. So given that this is the case, the Emblem of the North, although it has 1.6% all damage and pretty decent amount of attack and defense, this is only good in pre-season of Conquest, guys. This is only good in pre-season of Conquest. So that's why I actually put it at the B tier. You guys kind of get the idea that I'm trying to get you guys? I'm trying to kind of explain why each armament is worth a certain amount, basically. Alright, looking at the next one, now we got the flag slot that has 3.3% attack, 2.5% defense, and 2.7% health. Now, this is a tough one. Technically speaking, you can actually convert this to pincer and then put special inscription on. So I would say this is actually going to be in the A tier. But personally speaking, I wouldn't say this is actually better than the one before because it has really low, relatively lower rolls on in terms of stats. I think this is probably where we can actually put it, right behind the Arch formation that has triple siege stats, that has 9.5% stats, right? If you combine all these stats over here, it's going to be like 8.2%, no, 8.5%, right? It is a whole percent lower. This is where it belongs, guys. This is where it belongs. Now, on the next one, here's what we have. We have basically the same one, but has 3.3% siege unit attack, 3.5% siege defense, and 1.6% all damage. Now, personally speaking, usually when I actually look at all damage, when it's actually not in the 1.7, 1.8, 1.9%, I'll personally actually consider this lower than 3.5% of health. That is extremely true for cavalry, but the thing is, this armor right here has a lot higher attack and defense, right? And defense is actually maxed out stats, guys. Defense is actually maxed out stats. And a lot higher attack as well. And given the fact that this is a triple roll siege armament, I think this can be a much better armor that you can actually put if you get to convert this into V formation, then triple stats with health. So for that reason, I would actually rank this higher than the one that we had before, despite the fact that this has 9.5% total stats, guys. 9.5% total stats. Because at the end of the day, if you're siege, your health does matter, but not matter as much as attack and all damage, in my opinion. And the only value that this armament has is for you to actually convert this to, let's say, V formation, and then you can actually use it for the field as a siege kind of engineering march, right? So I think I'll put this at an A tier above both of those armaments. All right, and now we got another armament. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is an Arch armament that has 2.9% attack, 1.6% defense, and 1.9% all damage, guys. Now, you might be wondering, oh, well, this has no triple stats, guys. Like, this has no triple stats. Is this actually even worth anything? Should it be a B tier? Should it be an A tier? No. This armor right here is actually something that I would personally put it in the S tier. And here's why. Again, this armament is actually an armament that is in the scroll slot, right? And what is really good about scroll slot is that at the end of each KVK, when you're in the Season of Conquest, and let's say you win a Season of Conquest and you get the Autarch, right? If you win the Autarch, you'll be able to basically grab any of those inscriptions, special inscriptions, from the inscription shop. And if you have, let's say you didn't win the KVK, you still get a fragment of Autarch that you can actually use for these slots at the end of the day too, right? So what is really important for scroll slot at the end of the day is the potential that this armament has. And this armament has huge upside potential because it has 1.9% all damage built into this set right here. Now, what does that do? That allows that specific armament to be able to be rolled into something like this, right? So this particular armament, I actually started out this armor with just 2% all damage. And then I actually started slow re-rolling attack and defense until I got 3.2% attack and 3.5% defense. And then I inscribed Special Inscription Thrasher onto this one to complete this armament that has almost maxed out stats except for the attack. Now, same thing could not same thing because this is 1.9% all damage, but the same thing could happen for this armament too. 1.9% all damage is extremely rare, and the fact that this is a scroll slot or flash slot makes this armament really valuable just because of the fact that it has 1.9% all damage, okay? So this could be a very strong candidate, personally speaking, for special inscription for the scroll slot. That's why I put this at S tier. Above all these other things, despite the fact that it has unmatching triple rolls, guys. Unmatching triple rolls, okay? So this is really valuable. Now, if you guys can excuse me, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and type over here, BRB restroom. Alright guys, I am back. My apologies. That's what happens when you drink too much Monster, okay? Yeah, I did the same thing with my scroll. 2% all damage and just fix it all at once. Yes. So this armament has a huge upside potential, and although it does not have special inscription right now, nor that it has triple stats rolled into it yet, I would say this is probably in the S tier, and it has a huge upside. Okay? And looking at the next armament, this is actually very interesting. This is an armament that has Fearsome and Fit. Double inscription. That is both very, very relevant. Fearsome and Fit, guys. Fearsome and Fit. Now this, I would say this is probably in the S tier. Not as good as the 1.9% all damage, because we don't have stats rolled into this, right? But Fearsome and Fit gives you 3.5% health from the Fit, and Fearsome I think gives you like 1.5% or something like that, right? Let me just go ahead and check. Yeah, 1% all damage, right? So those are both very relevant armaments, very relevant inscriptions that are in double, right? And despite the fact that this does not have any of the stats really usable, right? It has 1.5% archer attack, 1.8% archer defense. You can actually just transmutate this any way you want, and then use it probably as the next best thing to rare inscription, guys. So this actually is very, very important, very, very strong armor, I would say, because this has a lot of huge upside potential, right? You just have to reroll the stats. That's all you have to do. And arguably, compared to some of the more outdated formations such as, I don't know, Tertio, this actually could be better than some of the rare inscriptions, guys. So yeah, I would say this is a pretty darn good, because of the two very, very relevant inscriptions, normal inscriptions, and it has a huge upside potentials. And I'll put this in S tier, guys. All right, looking at the next one. Now this armament is interesting. This armament has triple archer stats, has 3.5% archer health, but it has assertive. Now assertive gives you 2% all damage, right? Assertive gives you 2% all damage. So this has basically 3.5% archer health on top of 2% all damage, right? Now how good is this armament? Personally, I would say it is probably in the right spot at this point. And here's why. Of course, wait, hold on. Let me just go ahead and put this up. I think this is actually better. This slot right here. Now, you guys might be wondering, hey, Musa, why are you putting an armament that has a very, very strong inscription lower than the one before? And here's why. Now, assertive is a very, very valuable armament, right? Let me just go ahead and go to the flag list. That's where I found it, right? Wait, do I not have assertive? Where's my assertive? Where did I get that from? Oh, there you go. Yeah, assertive gives you 2% all damage, right? And it has 3.5% archer health. But the other two rolls here, attack and defense, is actually really, really low, right? It's actually really, really low. And for you to actually use this armament for any competitive battlefield, I would say you have to reroll attack and defense, and then kind of use this as by inscribing the special inscription, and that's how much kind of it has. That's where you can get the value at the end of the day. Now, it does have 3.5% archer health, so that means you don't have to reroll that health. You just have to lock that health and then actually get that rerolled, right? So I would personally say it is probably somewhere around here at this point. Now I think about it, because the fact that you have 3.5% health doesn't means that you can kind of lock that and then kind of reroll the rest, right? To this day, I still have not put one assertive. Around 2,500 legendaries pool. Yeah, assertive is a very, very valuable one, right? Because and the value of what I'm trying to say is the value of the assertive is not something that you can kind of consider for in the long term, right? At the end of the day, you still have to reroll the attack and defense, and you still have to inscribe special inscription over that assertive, right? Because unless you're using this like at this very, very moment, what you really need to pay attention to is stats at the end of the day, right? Because this is the one that you'll be able to actually inscribe special inscriptions on. Again, flags and scroll. One on the upper left corner and the one on the upper right, the down right corner are the ones that you can actually eventually get special inscription inscribed at the end of the day, right? So that's why I'll put this there. The reason why this is actually lower than this one is because the stats that are already rolled into the attack and defense is already really, really high for this one. And they have basically the equal amount of kind of upward potential. 1.6% all damage is kind of whatever, but then again, at the same time, having all damage is more rare and it is more valuable for V formation potential V formation scroll. So that's why I put this below assertive, despite the fact that it has 2% all damage, guys. Hi, quick question out of topic. Should I go Martel or Pierce for KVK1? I'll just go with Sun Tzu ISG, man. I just used Sun Tzu ISG in my KVK1. It was amazing. Yeah, I would say Sun Tzu ISG. That's my personal opinion. Unless you have Martel expertise, then you can kind of use it because of the march speed, but yeah. Anyways, let's move on to this armor right here. Now, this armor is very interesting. This is something that I used to use for my Attila, and that is Arch, Scroll Slot, Pulverize, and Warcry. Now, let me just go ahead and show you this in game. Arch, Pulverize, Warcry. Now, you guys might be thinking, okay, well, this one is a scroll. It has double inscription. But at the end of the day, you have to special inscribe your special inscriptions onto this slot, right? So the two inscriptions that you have for this armament at the end of the day may not have value. That might actually be the case. But what you gotta realize is that this is an arch formation, guys. This is an arch formation. And what is really interesting about arch formation is that the special inscription for arch, which is called destructive, gives you 3.5% boost to normal damage dealt, but whenever it launches a basic attack, it has 10% chance to lose 100 rage to increase the damage of that attack by 70%. So what this does is that although it does give you a lot of 3.5% normal damage boosts, it actually loses a lot of its value by spending the rage and making your skill cycle go longer. And that's why special inscription and rare inscription on the arch formation specifically is actually considered worse than having a very decent double inscription. So with that said, having Warcry, which gives you 3.5% attack, obviously this is not Vitality, which gives you 3.5% health, and Pulverize, which gives you 10% chance to gain 20% bonus to all types of normal damage dealt for 1 second, and the fact that it has pretty decent amount of cavalry attack, defense, and health. This right here is arguably, for arch formation specifically, arguably probably the best in-slot armament that you can get for arch formation for scroll slot. And this right here, and you guys might actually disagree, but this right here is the first armament that we have in this list that is going to be at the S+ tier. Now, all you gotta do for this armor right here is just reroll that health to something like all damage or higher health. It has insane, I mean insane amount of value for Attila used as arch formation, guys. And this is the exact armament that I was using as a cavalry rally before I transferred over to Delta, because it is insanely valuable, guys. 2 relevant normal inscriptions that gives you a tremendous amount of buff for Attila Subutai rally. So yeah, this is a S plus tier armament, guys. S plus tier armament. Now moving on. So this one, Leonine Chronicle. This is a scroll software delta. Has very low stats, 1.8% attack, 2% defense, 1.7% health, and has Valiant, which gives you 1% all damage, right? 1% all damage. This right here is actually pretty interestingly better than this one. The fact that the emblem slot armament has 2.5% attack, 3.3% defense, 1.6% all damage does stat-wise have advantage over Leonine's Chronicle. But given that this one actually has a normal inscription, allows you to reroll this armament, right? You can reroll this armament. I don't know, for it to have 2% all damage, there is a chance that this armament can get much better than this. Whereas this armament right here has triple stats for infantry, has 1.6% all damage, but there's no upward potential for this armament at all. You don't have an armament, you don't have an inscription, you cannot reroll this at all. So this Emblem of the North, although the stats here are kick-ass, has potentially lower value than this armament right here. Hey, how's it going, man? Kanani Gaming, yo, welcome. Alright, so that's why this one is actually above Emblem of the North, despite the fact that its stats are trash. I mean, trash. Okay? Now, moving on to Leonine's Chronicle. This one is the same slot as 3.5% health gained from Robust. And it has 2.6%, 2.5%, 2.6% health. Now, is this an amazing armament? No, this is not an A tier, I would say, personally. But this is a pretty decent B tier. It would be probably the top tier B tier because this is a weird armament where it has triple stats, but the triple stats are pretty low, right? All of them are barely over or on the top level of epic equipment, epic armor, right? And although this one and this one has like similar situation, this one you have to reroll attack and defense anyways, and you can still keep 3.5% archer health, right? But this one right here, although Robust is a really good inscription, you have to practically just reroll all of this at the end of the day, right? 2.6%, 2.5%, 2.6%. Like, none of these stats are actually OP, right? So that's why you have to reroll this, and that's why this is a B tier armament, because it doesn't have a single stat that is actually usable on this. And when you're rerolling an armament, because it has a normal inscription on it, what you're looking for is peak, right? It's upward potential at the end of the day. And this one does not have that much upward potential. Can you answer my question in game chat after you're done? Yeah, sure. Alright, so that's what we have. Moving on. Leonine's Chronicle, this is the same thing. Delta Formation has one inscription, but it's not combat. Hurried is actually a march speed related armament, right? But has better stats that you have, right? We have at least one stat that is more than 3%. Personally speaking, I would say this is actually better than Valiant. And this is why. although Valiant gives you 1% all damage, guys, this armament, arguably, you can actually lock into that defense and utilize that one stat that you have in there, despite the fact that the hurried normal inscription has 0 value in terms of combat. So that's why I put this above Valiant, this armor right here. Now, is that better than having robust and triple stats on the Leon's Chronicle? Now, that becomes a very tough question to answer. But right now, I would say the robust, this is actually still usable for a lot of preseason conquest people. But if you have this armor right here, I would say this is probably less usable. You have to reroll the attack, or you have to inscribe a usable inscription. So that's why I actually put this between those two armors. Okay. Okay. All right. Moving on. All right. We have, what do you have here? All right. We have Emblem. Again, this is the one that you cannot put special inscription on or rare inscription on. We have an emblem that has Focus Fire, which is a rare inscription that gives you 4% skill damage boost. It has 2% attack, 3.2% defense, and 1.4% all damage. Now this is tough. But I would personally put this somewhere. Yeah, I honestly put this somewhere in between over here. Yeah, somewhere in between over here, right? Now, the reason why I put this in between here is simple. Is because this is a rare inscription, and it is very tough. It is very tough for an armament that has 2% attack, 3.2% defense, cavalry defense, and 1.4% all damage to reroll this, right? So what you should be doing with this armament is that you should be using this armament until you get a special inscription for that slot. And do not touch this at all. Is my personal opinion. If you get an armament like this, guys, that is very usable for your cavalry march right now, do not waste your conversion stones, transmutation stones on this. Just use it as is. And just go ahead and wait for your special inscription. That's what you gotta do, because this is usable as is. This is a great armament. As per the definition of A tier armament, by the way. This is a great armament, but it doesn't have an upper potential. Not as much as a 3.5% archer health. Imagine rerolling these two stats to 3% and then inscribing special inscription on this one, right? That armament is a world better than this one, right? So that's why I put this behind those two. Now, is it worse than having no inscription at all? Is it worse than having like all damage inscription on there? Not really, right? So the all damage stats on there? Not really. So that's why this is sitting right in between the A tier. Okay? Okay? Everyone following so far? Everyone following so far? Alright. Now, oh, this is a hard one. Prime. So this is an instrument for pincer. Let me just go ahead and check this out for you guys. This is an instrument for pincer. Now, I don't have a pincer built, but it is this one right here, right? It has triple stats rolled into it, and the wielded troop gains 5% bonus to march speed when you have 50% or better units remaining, right? And it has triple stats rolled into it. Here's what I'll do. I'll just put this in the B tier. Yeah, I'll just put this into B tier. It's usable. It has triple stats, and because this is not a scroll or flag armament, you just gotta use whatever inscription that you have on it, right? You cannot overwrite a special inscription on this slot, right? It is an instrument for pincer. Yo, Muhammad, thank you so much, man. Yo! Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it, sir. Super chat. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Thank you. Really appreciate it, sir. I don't know what currency that is, but either way, man. Thank you so much, Mohammed. 100%. I'll take a look at your question in game after this. Either way, okay. But again, let's go back to this. Right now, is this worse than the Emblem of the North over here? 2.5% attack, 3.3% defense, and 1.6% attack all damage? No, because it has an armament. It has an inscription, right? It has an inscription. You can reroll the stats if you want to. Personally speaking, I'll just use this as is. If you convert it to if you convert it to Wedge 2.0, and then just dismantle it afterwards. That's how I'll use it personally. But because it has a normal inscription, you can reroll the stats at the end of the day. I think this is my first donate on YouTube for you. Hey, thank you so much, Mohammed. Really appreciate it, sir. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. And yeah, so that's where I'll put it. It's not a combat helping inscription. So it cannot be, and it's not in the scroll slot or the flag slot. So the fact that it has a normal inscription puts this above a fixed one over here, but it is what it is. I think this is probably the right spot for that, right? Now, I do have my next armament here is basically a scroll slot for siege, right? But it is a scroll. So that means that you can, at the end of the day, put in special inscription for this and use it for your V-formation engineering march. Now, the only problem is that this one actually does not have a really decent stats rolled into it, right? And because those stats are kind of low, it is very difficult for you to actually reroll this, right? So with that said, I would personally put this above the Emblem of the North, because at the end of the day, you can still put special inscription on this and use it. But because it doesn't really have any inscriptions, I would say the value of this armament is not really that high, right? Like if it had like one stats that was like 3.5%, let's say it had 3.5% attack, the value of this armament will go way higher, right? It will go way higher. Let's say it had 2% all damage, the value of this will go way higher. But right now, as is, it's not really that good. It is scroll, so it does have more upper potential than Emblem 1 over here. But yeah, that's where I'll put this. Alright. Moving on to Emblem. Another Emblem with an inscription, Guardians. Now, Guardians, I think, gives you damage mitigation, if I remember correctly. Let me just go ahead and find out. Guardian. Guardian gives you 2% less normal damage taken of all types. Okay, so that's a very good combat buff, right? Nowadays in the field, you get about 50% of the normal damage, in my opinion, and 50% of the skill damage, right? So this is almost equivalent to having 1% less normal damage taken. 1% less all damage taken, right? So this is a really good armor. Now, this is obviously better than any of these guys. And I would say this might actually be one of the better armors that we can find. I would say it'll be at the top of the B tier, right? The reason why it cannot be an A tier is simple. Is because this is, again, an emblem slot, right? It has 3.5% attack, 3.5% health. It has 2.5% defense, but it still has 9.5% total stats. It has a kick-ass inscription. But at the end of the day, this cannot be a rare or special inscription, right? This cannot be converted to rare or special inscription. So that's why it is at the top of the B tier, but not something that I can bump up to A tier. Okay? Okay? Everyone's understanding this correctly? Alright, let's go ahead and move on. For the North, this is an instrument slot arch armament. It has very high attack and defense, and it has a pretty low health. Personally, I would say this actually is pretty easy. It'll just be right above that focus fire. Now, the reason why it's above focus fire is because you can actually just reroll the health here and then use it until you have special inscription, even if you're rallying Garrison. Let's say your kingdom does not have a full legendary inscription rallying Garrison. This one right here is a little bit difficult for you to use as a rallying Garrison. But this right here, if you just reroll the health over here to something higher than 3%, this is a really good armament, right? So I would say this has better overall upward potential than Focus Fire. Now, can this make above those two armaments that can be a legendary inscription armament at the end of the day? No, not really, right? Because this can be, this has maxed out archer health. If you put special inscription on this, you can actually make this into a really, really good armament, right? But yeah, this one is instrument. You cannot do that for this, right? So that's why this is below this. But this right here is basically what I'll put this specific armaments, okay? Now, moving into Imperial Decree. So this one is a special one. So this one has really low stats. It's 1.5% attack, 1.9% defense, 1.9% health. But line shot, guys, line shot for reformation is a very, very powerful armament. Powerful inscription. Now let's read this together. Line shot. While in V formation, which is ideally all the time, the wielder's troop deals 5% more ranged normal damage. While not in V formation, the wielder's troop deals 1% more normal damage of all types. Yo, if you're using Gaja, Mara, and Gonzalo, which I think is the only pair of engineering commanders that you should be running in Rise of Kingdoms right now, this right here gives you 5%, basically all damage, guys. This gives you 5% all damage. Now, with that said, let's just go ahead and compare that to rare or special inscription, guys. Let's go ahead and compare that to rare or special inscription for V at the same slot. Sharp arrow, guys. Sharp arrow. The wielder's troop gains 4% boost to ranged normal damage dealt. 4%? Line shot gives you 5% while you're in V formation. And practically speaking, you should never be doing any ranged normal damage unless you're in a V formation, right? So this normal inscription right here is actually better than the rare inscription right here, guys. Isn't that crazy? And although it is worse than the special inscription over here, which gives you 10% boost to normal damage dealt, it is still 1% better than the rare inscription, right? And that's why this right here, guys, although it does not have really good stats, it will actually move up here. It will be actually moved all the way to over here. Now, is that better than having an upper potential of having higher like special inscription? No. But it is better than some of the rare inscriptions that we have here, guys. Just because it gives you 5% all that, 5% basically all damage for V formation. It's really, really funny how these all work out, guys. It's really, really funny how this all work out. All right. Now, moving on to this armor right here. Now, this armament is Olympia's Chorus Master. It gives you fit and brutal. Guys, it gives you fit and brutal. Now, fit and brutal. Fit gives you 3.5% health. And brutal gives you 3.5% attack. So it should be somewhere near fearsome and fit, right? But here's a catch, guys. Here's a catch. Is Pierce YSG a solid combo for KPK1? Just use Sun Tzu, dude. Just use Sun Tzu. Pierce does not go well with YSG. They have zero synergy with YSG. So yeah, that's my opinion. Anyways, looking at these. Okay, so just from the pure inscription perspective, guys, you guys might be thinking, oh well, Fearsome is all damage. Fed is health. This one is health, and this is 3.5% attack. Now, Fearsome. Let me just go ahead and go to Davers thing, right? Now, 1% all damage, guys. Wait, hold on. Copy. Do I have it? Raw data? But anyway, so here's the thing. 3.5% attack arguably is actually better than 1% all damage. Now, is that the same way if it's 2% all damage like Assertive? No. But 1% all damage is actually worse than having 3.5% attack. So, this right here is actually better than Fearsome and Fit, guys. This right here is actually better than Fearsome and Fit. Because 3.5% attack is a lot of attack. And although 1% all damage is very, very impressive, it is actually slightly worse than 3.5% attack. Slightly, but it is still worse than 3.5% attack. Especially for archers, if I remember correctly, guys. If I remember correctly, that is the case. Let me just go ahead and show you guys. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so this is a Zenith spreadsheet that I actually made for Zenith power events. 1% all damage is actually equivalent to 2.8% of attack for archers, guys. For infantry, it is 2.9%. For cavalry, it's 2.6%. So yes, 2% is going to be better, but 1% does not cut it. It's very, very close, but at the end of the day, Brutal is going to be better than Fearsome. Also, it doesn't help that it doesn't have the last one rolled in. Okay? Now, going into the next one, what do you have here? What do we have here? Okay, we have Banner of the Pantheon. This is what's actually on my Qinshu Hang. It has 2.9% attack, 3.3% defense, and 1.8% all damage, guys. So this one is a flag armament. So what does that mean? Flag armament can be inscribed special inscription, guys. Flag armament can be inscribed special inscription. It has almost maxed out defense as well. So it's going to be very close tied to this armor right here. Right? It has 1.9% all damage. This one has 1.8% all damage. But this one does not have a high roll on the attack and defense, right? And it's going to be very close back and forth between those two. Personally, I'll put the Banner of the Pantheon with 1.8% all damage over here for different reasons. For one, nowadays, we have Honing Stone that gives you 0.2% attack and 0.2% defense and 0.1% all damage, right? Now, if you want to make this armament into a perfect defense and all damage, or let's say if you want this armor to have perfect all damage, guys, you need at least 2 Honing Stones. Whereas this one, once you finish rerolling the attack and defense, you only need 1 Honing Stone, guys. 1 Autark. 1 Autark versus 2 Autark. That's the only reason why I actually put this behind this armament. It is a very close call because of the high stats that is rolled into attack and defense. But this one has slightly higher, I would say, upward potential for this slot, in my opinion. Okay? Alright, let's move on. Alright, we now have special inscriptions from my armors, guys. Special inscriptions. Now, this one right here has special inscription, has 2.3% attack, 3.4% defense, and 3.5% health. Now, it does have pretty low attack, guys. Does have pretty low attack. Charles Sun is fine. You can run Charles fine. Charles Sunzu, they're great pair. Yeah, so it does have pretty low attack, but it does have special inscription, guys. And defense and attack are both almost maxed out. So I would personally say this right here is not as good as the S plus armament that we have over here. It will be somewhere between the top of the S tier or the bottom of the S plus tier, guys. But I'll personally put this probably over here. No, actually I'll just put this over here. The reason for this is one, it's a scroll slot, but it does not have all damage. It's a scroll slot, but it does not have all damage. Now, the reason why this is actually better armament than this one right here, although this one has 1.9% all damage, this one actually has almost maxed out stats for 2 slots, defense and health, right? Defense and health. And that is extremely difficult for you to actually roll. And that's why I actually put this above this one right here. That's the only reason why. Now, even if this one has special inscription, even if this had special inscription, if the defense was like, I don't know, 3%, I would have actually put this over here. But because it has 2 stats that are close to maxed out, guys, because this has 2 stats that are close to being maxed out, that's why I actually put this above this armor right here. Okay, guys? This is really, really good. Now, moving on to this one right here. So this is a butterfly effect. It has 1.6% attack. It has 2.3% defense, 1.8% health. Its stats are very low. It is currently on my 2nd cavalry set, guys. It is currently on my 2nd cavalry set. But here's the catch. This right here, guys, this right here is a special inscription on instrument. Specifically, this one is a special inscription on cavalry delta formation. This has one of the most valuable special inscription for cavalry. This goes right up to the S plus tier. Now, Musa, why aren't you putting this above this armor right here? Pulverize and Warcry. Well, because the reason why this is actually not above Pulverize and Warcry for a couple reasons. For one, attack and defense is almost maxed out on this one right here, right? 2, having 2, probably one of the strongest, I would say, normal inscriptions paired up together without rare or special inscription for this slot right here might actually have better odds than having just random low stats onto butterfly effect over here, guys. That's the only reason why I would put it up here. Now, as an armament, would this be a better armament to give you like the overall better strength? Yes, this is going to be the better armament. But I'm just talking about the value this one has as an arch formation scroll slot, double inscription that has Pulverize and Warcry together. This is an extremely rare case, right? So that's why this armor right here actually has better value than having a random butterfly effect without all damage, okay? Going on to emblem. This one right here, interesting. So we have 2 normal inscription, resistant and hardy. Now, resistant I think is gonna give you what? Where is resistant at? Resistant I think gives you like counterattack damage reduction. Yeah, 2.5%. It deals 2.5% more counterattack damage. Okay. And then Hardy, you guys, as you guys already know, Hardy gives you 3.5% health. Okay. So now this one is interesting because resistant is a combat related inscription, but it is not really that relevant, right? It is not really that relevant. It's not the strongest inscription to begin with for archers specifically, right? Now, for that reason, although it has double inscription and it has hardy, I will just actually put this right below the Emblem of the North that has Guardian. Now, Guardian gives you 2% normal damage reduction, but this one has max stats on attack and health, guys. This one has max stats on attack and health. And Resistant is practically not usable for Archer that is using Wedge 1.0. And has Hardy, which is fine, but again, this right here, 2% less normal damage taken is much better, in my opinion. Alright, moving on. Alright, we have another armament that is very, very interesting. Has double inscription with Relentless and Shielded, guys. We have double inscription with Relentless and Shielded. And this is on my second cavalry set right now. Now, Relentless gives you 3.5% boost to combo damage, attack, dealt. Now, this is a little bit worse than Flurry, which gives you 8%, right? This actually is 4.5% combo damage boost less than Flurry. But this actually has Shielded. Now, for cavalry, Shielded is almost as good as having 1.8% all damage, guys. This is almost as good as having 1.8% all damage. Or 1.7, 1.8. You guys get the point. This is a pretty decent amount of all damage that you can actually gain from this, right? When converted to all damage, that is. So, if I were to calculate both of them combined together, this right here is almost as good, in my opinion, almost as good as having about 5% or a little bit less of combo damage boost, guys. About 5% or a little bit less than combo damage boost. Now that means, and this goes right above to the A tier. Personally, I think this goes up to the S tier because it is a rare inscription with a very strong combat stats, right? It is obviously going to go way beyond the two armors that has normal inscription, two normal inscriptions. And it's actually probably going to end up somewhere around here. Again, this is probably the second best thing that could happen to an emblem next to the special inscription, guys. Now, the stats are a little low, but those can be always rerolled, guys. Those can be always rerolled. The fact that this is actually the second best thing to Flurry, almost second best thing to Flurry, makes this armament really, really valuable, right? If this was like hurried, like we saw earlier, then this armament is trash, right? This armament is basically gonna go down to A tier. Not trash, but A tier. But the fact that it has two very combat relevant inscriptions on it makes these armaments really, really valuable. Okay? Alright, let's move on. Let's move on. Alright, we have this armor right here. Flag with special inscription, guys. Flag with special inscription has 10% stats rolled into this. Has 10% stats rolled into this. This goes right above where Hunter is, guys. Just simply put, this has way more stats rolled into this, right? It has 3.5% health. This one has 3.5% health. It has a little bit lower defense, but attack 3.3% is actually really, really good. If you put one holding stone, this would actually be almost perfect, right? So that's why this is above Hunter. Also, at the same time, Hunter is a little bit easier to get than Steel Skin, in my opinion, because Flag Inscription, guys. Flag Inscription is a lot more difficult for you to get than the Autark, right? Autark, you can get it every KVK. Usually, the Flag Inscription, you can get it every 3 KVKs. That's why I put it over here, okay? Alright, moving on to the next one. Leon's Chronicle This is a scroll slot armament that has 3.5% cavalry defense, which is the max out stats. Has 2% all damage. 2% all damage. And it has 3.2% cavalry attack. This is SS tier. And here's why. It is a scroll slot, but it has 2% all damage. And it has maxed out defense, guys. And it has maxed out defense. It is almost impossible for you to get 2% all damage to begin with, but also another full stats on top of this. Actually, I would say it is right here, S+. Very top of the S+ tier. Again, 2% all damage is very, very difficult to get. 3.5% cavalry defense is very, very difficult to get. It is insanely valuable armament at the end of the day. But a lot of people can actually make this. Because this is a scroll armament, guys. Because this is a scroll armament, a lot of people can actually get this. That's the only reason why this is actually in the S+ tier. Okay? Because this is the one. This is one inscription that you can actually put into your scroll after each KVK, right? All damage is good. 3.5% defense is good, but anyone can make this. A lot of people have 2% all damage scroll slot. So that's why it's the S+ tier. Very top of the S+ tier. But this is the S+ tier instead of double S tier. Now what goes into double S tier? This armor right here. Butterfly effect delta formation with 3.3% attack, 3.3% defense, and 1.9% all damage. Now the reason why this is very, very valuable is simple. It's the one on my Gangnam Chan. The reason why this is very, very valuable is simple. It's because one, you cannot pull butterfly effect. You cannot inscribe butterfly effect into existing all damage. What that means is that once you get your butterfly effect, guys, you have to reroll until you get all damage. You have to reroll your armament until you get all damage. That is better than 1.8% for cavalry, guys. That is better than 1.8% in cavalry, because 1.7% all damage in cavalry is actually equivalent to 3.5% health in cavalry. So you cannot get 1.8% or lower in terms of all damage, because it is worse than having 3.5% health. 3.5% health is good. I'm not saying this bad, but if you want to really get the value out of all damage, you have to get it above 1.8%, guys. And it has 3.3% attack, 3.3% defense, 1.9% all damage. What that means is that with one honing stone, with a single honing stone, this armor right here, guys, can be a perfect armament with 3.5% attack, 3.5% defense, and 2% all damage, guys. This armor right here is the definition of SS tier armament, in my opinion. Almost impossible, guys. Almost impossible. Now, what goes into triple S tier, guys? What goes into triple S tier? Things like this, guys. Now, what this armament is, guys, what this armament is, it's the one from Chasky's Arch Attila. This one has Fearless, which is actually, this is first of all, this is actually an armament on this slot right here, Emblem. So that means that when you pulled your legendary armament, you had to get a normal inscription attached to it when you pull that, and there is zero way that you can get this outside of you getting extremely lucky. And this is the definition of what you can't get with money. If you're unlucky with money, if you're unlucky in Rise of Kingdoms, it is possible that you will never see a double inscription with special inscription, guys. But on top of that, guys, on top of that, look at what this does. Counter. The wielder's troop takes 3% less counterattack damage of all types. The reason why I chose this particular armament in particular is simple. Is because this armament gives you rally or garrison or combat damage overall. Now, if you look at the other armament that I have for you right here, which is also from Chasky, by the way. This armor right here also has special inscription and normal inscription, but it has fine horse. It gives you 2.5% march speed. It is a good utility, but it is not helpful for rallying garrison. And hence, armaments that has more utility, double inscription, in my opinion, is less valuable than armament that has overall combat damage buff. So that's why I put this armament in the SSS tier, because at the end of the day, you still need insane amount of luck for you to get double inscription with rare special inscription. But although fine horse is really good for open field, this is not helpful in rally and garrison meta. So that's why I will put this armor right here below the one that has combat buff, guys. Everything else is basically the same thing. And yep. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes my hour and 8 minutes lecture of what do you call this? Armament value tier list, guys. Armament value tier list. Anyways, guys, hopefully, really hopefully, this was actually helpful for everyone who was watching this today. I mean, yeah, it was a long video, but hopefully this is helpful for those of you who are watching this, and especially for those of you who are entering KVK 2 at this very moment, right? Again, if you guys are in pre-Season of Conquest, guys, all of these armaments that you're seeing here on the screen are gonna be valuable. But for people like me, for people like Chasky, for people that are being rally and garrison leads in Season of Conquest, there's still tiers that you can actually differentiate those armors one from another based on their value, guys. Based on their value. And that's what this is kind of meant to help you with, so that you can kind of understand which armaments you should keep and which armors you should dismantle. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, guys. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video, guys. Peace! Alright. That was a long video, guys. That was a long video. Alright. Let's see what Muhammad has. Yeah, I'll wait for 1.8% or more. This already helped you? Hey, thank you so much, man. Can I cover it in Delta? Is the special inscription on Delta or Hunter? Mohammed, is this Is this special inscription on Delta or Wedge? What you should do is get... Either way, actually, I shouldn't be talking about this. Either way, I would wait for better armament with higher all damage or health. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful, guys. Which is better for Sun Tzu. For Sun Tzu Prime, this one is better. Oh god. My neck hurts, guys. My neck hurts. So yeah, I will wait for armaments like this. Let's see if I have a... Do I not have 2% all damage? Or 1.9% all damage? I have one in Arch. I would, yeah. With high all damage. Yeah, and convert inscribe reroll. That's what I would do. You have 2 blueprint, 1 for Delta formation, 1 for Wedge. Oh, okay, that's good. Alright. Alright, guys. I think I'm gonna... I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day, guys. I talked for a very long time. I didn't expect the armament thing to be this long, guys. I didn't expect the armament thing to be this long. Let's see if we have someone else who is streaming. Let's see if I can convert you guys to someone else's stream. We got Oppo streaming. Alright, guys. I'm not going to send you guys to my Oppo. Once again, thank you guys so much for stopping by. I know that I was talking for a very long time. Hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. If you guys did, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel, guys. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next stream, guys.